Our goal during the summer was to be even more prepared, knowing what we need to get done now, that when we come back on day one, we hit the ground running, that our students know on day one that we're ready and that we're going to be ready throughout the year. When you're coming back from 9.9% improvement, you realize that we have to improve again. If we don't, people are going to say, really? Maybe it wasn't real. But if we do improve again, whether it be 9.9%, 8%, 12%, that's real for us. That means that we did it right, we knew what we were doing, and we're going to do it again. We know what needs to get done now, and we now have a plan and a map in place for how we're going to make those improvements. So as we begin year two, it's exciting for us because we come back with a year under our belt. We have that experience now that we can relate to, and we look forward to improving upon that experience and making the second year even more successful than the first.
I like doing freshman orientation. It's kind of like a preview of going back to school. Not that going back to school is the greatest thing in the world, but I mean, I come back, see all the new faces, I help them out, and I like to help people, and that's something I've always done.
Our busy time is the 2 weeks prior to registration. People are getting back in their buildings. They're realizing that they need material for the registration days, so we have crunch time within that 2-week period. And then once registration is over, things start to taper down. People are a little bit more adjusted to being in the buildings, and they have a little bit more time before students are actually back that they can kind of plan for material that they'll need for the first day of school. This year was very overwhelming for all of us. With the 4 major projects that we had, 2 of them were new. So everybody pitched in when there was a hand that was needed. Somebody filled in, and we got through it. And we met our due dates.
We're very fortunate because we have a staff that's committed on a year-round basis to professional development and preparing for kids. Today we've just wrapped up a very successful transition day. We had great attendance from kids and from parents. What we do is we run separate agendas, separate programs for the kids and the parents. So while we're getting the kids ready with things they need to know for the first day of school, we're talking to parents about overall adolescent development, ways that parents can support their learners, some ins and outs about how Jefferson runs that the parents find very helpful. So we run both groups through a rotation, and then we bring them back together at the end and celebrate. I think that it really alleviates some of the nerves for the learners and for the parents. We had a lot of nervous parents today, but I think by the end of the day, they figured out that their kid's going to be just fine.
We handle a lot of last-minute requests before school starts, so I prioritize, what's most important for the schools to be ready Monday, and some of the lower priority things we'll have to still complete next week. We're doing the dance. We're scrambling to get everything in place. I have a really good crew that has handled a lot of the things we're doing differently now with a positive attitude, and we're just going out and getting things done. We're doing different things staffing-wise than we have in the past. We're asking our staff to step up and improve what they do, and it's working out well.
This year we're going to continue many of the practices we began last year in regard to lesson planning and collaboration amongst particularly the science department as well as the freshman team. And this summer we spent time tweaking our project-based learning in our professional development, which was at the Grand Wayne Center last week. And we started developing projects that the kids would hopefully be engaged in at the beginning of this year. We've done a lot of project-based learning in the past. I think they just encourage us to approach it in a little bit different way and embed our standards and our lessons throughout the unit rather than trying to come up with a culminating project that they would do after the lessons were complete. So we've been approaching from that point and designing a project to start the school year.
In preparation for this new school year, we have spent a lot of time this summer in professional development for all members of the elementary team, whether it be teachers, administrators, support staff. We spent a large amount of time since we got out on June the 13th training people how to be prepared for the new reform agenda that's taking effect in all of our schools today. Teachers do not have classroom responsibilities in the summer, but with the changes that have come to education, we know more about educating children today than we ever have before. We have more tools, and in our district, we've been able to prove that we know how to work with even the most challenging situations, because obviously we've been successful with our reading levels going up at all levels, with the district making AYP 2 years in a row. All of these things have come together to say there are very few excuses anymore about why children can't learn. We know what we need to know. The summer has been spent helping everybody understand what their role is in that and what their performance has to be like in order for that to happen across the district in every school. We have been able to offer people training that we've not been able to do before. The feedback has been more positive than anything I've ever experienced in my career in terms of what teachers and support staff people and administrators are saying to us about the value of spending the summer preparing for a new school year in this way, getting everybody on the same page, understanding the mission of Fort Wayne Community Schools, and being able to support it from day one when they get back in the classroom. The basic premise of all the work we've done is to prepare people, every person on the elementary staff, to do the best possible job they can do at supporting student achievement, no matter what role they serve in a school building. We've seen pockets of excellence everywhere. Now we're taking it to scale, and we have great hopes that this year will be the best educational year we've ever had for our kids.